When was the last time you felt impatient? Maybe you were waiting on a certain text from a certain somebody, or a promotion, maybe healing, a contract, love, an answer. God, what if patience is not about waiting? What if it's about trusting? Welcome back. I'm Law, author of Enunciate Your Needs, Practices for Presence, Consent. Today, I want to introduce a new idea that's been changing the way that I think. It's simple but powerful. Patience is regulated trust. Maybe impatience is dysregulated fear. Now let's break this idea together. Let's break it open. Think about a calm river. It doesn't force itself downstream. It doesn't panic because the ocean isn't visible. It keeps flowing steadily, purposefully, confidently, because the river trusts the path. For my audience, are you struggling now to be patient with something? Maybe your career, maybe your relationship, maybe your finances, healing, purpose. Drop a word below. Now, what is patience really? Most of us learn patience as waiting quietly. As children, sit still, right? Or keep your hands to yourself. That's not patience. That is compliance. Patience is active. Patience keeps moving. Patience keeps building. Patience keeps preparing, while trusting that today's work will become tomorrow's harvest. Now, as we mentioned, patience doesn't stop moving. It simply refuses to panic. And we're going to discuss those differences soon. We're going to discuss the ships. We're going to start with relationships, love, marriage. Yeah. Love, one of the quickest ways to sabotage a relationship. How can I illustrate it? It's like demanding fruit from a tree that you planted yesterday, right? Like imagine you planted a fruit tree yesterday and now you're demanding fruit from it the next day. It takes time, no? Well, the same is true with a relationship. Trust takes time. Communication takes practice, especially if you've lived two totally separate lives, perhaps in two totally different areas or geographies, cultures, ethnic backgrounds, and you may speak the same language, but that does not equate to being able to communicate effectively. But it takes practice. And with that practice comes safety, because safety takes consistency. You drive over a bridge a few times, it's been tested, you don't really think about it the 100th time. You trust that this bridge is going to be sound. And what about intimacy? Intimacy isn't built in moments. It's built in repetitions. And that's why erotic intelligence isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. Now let's talk about communication. Communication requires patience because people don't always understand us the first time, and neither do I. Know for myself, the quicker I understood that, the less I was insulted, annoyed, impatient when someone did not understand me, because I had to accept everything that we just finished discussing, those repetitions, the practice, upbringing, educational level, a comprehension ability, ... Sometimes the conversation isn't about convincing someone, that part. You're not trying to convince someone that you're right. You're not trying to convince someone to understand your point of view. Sometimes it's just about creating enough safety so that understanding can eventually grow. But that also takes what? That takes time. And when you invest that time, as one invests in a relationship, with time, words don't even have to be said. You can communicate clearly with just a glance, just a raising of the eyebrow, to where that person knows exactly what it is that you are communicating. Now, what about consent? Consent is also patience, because consent honors another person's timing, not just their own desires. For the immature mind asks, why aren't they ready yet? Meanwhile, the mature mind asks, what do they need to feel safe? That is regulated trust. That also takes time and practice. Now, what about healing? Healing might be the greatest teacher of patience, for you cannot rush grief. You cannot rush forgiveness. You cannot rush rebuilding yourself. Imagine planting a seed and then digging it up every morning just to check if it's growing. Will you be successful? Meanwhile, that's what many of us do emotionally. We interrupt our own healing by constantly checking if we're healed. Healing grows in the dark before it appears in the light. Now let's move into community. People ask me, how do cities change? Simple, slowly, thoughtfully, relationship by relationship, meeting by meeting, conversation by conversation. A healthy community isn't built by one passionate speech. It's built by consistent participation. Impatience is civic leadership, showing up consistently, even when change isn't immediately visible. Anyone here do restoration work of any kind? It takes a vision, it takes a skill to be able to see what something can become, especially when its original state is distressed, dismantled, destroyed, horrible, ugly. That's why before and after pictures are so transformative, no? But there's a process, there's time, there's patience. Now, what about business? My entrepreneurs, this one's for you. We plant a website today and we expect customers tomorrow. We post one video today and then we expect the whole world to know who we are. We attend one networking event, then we ask, where are all the contracts? Business rewards consistent trust, not emotional sprints. It's the business of you, the business of me. It's like working out, right? If I did 100 push-ups today, 100 sit-ups tomorrow, but never worked out prior to, when I wake up tomorrow and I lift my shirt up, am I going to see an 8-pack or a 6-pack? Am I going to see firm pecs? No, that takes time. That takes consistency. That takes what it takes. The same is true with our business, the business that is us. Now, one of the greatest lessons I've learned over this past year is that preparation often feels invisible. Building my books, right? I would be up all night, like literally, just in a zone. And I could not stop until I got these out. I would contact my sister. I would contact my loved ones, say goodnight to them. We have a little morning routine. They'd text me in the morning. I'd let them know I'm still up. But I needed that. But no one knew that, but a handful of folks. Recording this podcast sometimes feels invisible. The process, the editing, the ideas, the schedule, the routine, serving on a board, learning government contracting, speaking, writing. Most of that work happened long before anyone noticed, unless you've known me for years. And the lesson that that's okay, because roots grow before fruit appears. That is the natural order of everything in life. Once I acknowledged that process, once I honored that process, I stopped rushing it and I truly began learning patience. And there's also a particular individual in my life, Luna, who has in many ways taught me other aspects of patience that I did not realize I needed to apply into myself. And for that, muchas gracias. Now let's go deeper. When we're impatient, our nervous system often believes something is wrong. We tighten, we force, we rush, we chase, we control. But trust regulates us. Trust slows our breathing. Trust widens our perspective. Trust reminds us, I don't have to force what is already becoming. It's like when parents are with their children and their children are impatient, their children are nervous, their children are ... A parent will tell their child, breathe, and it really is that simple. When we just take the time to breathe, we allow ourselves to remind ourselves that we are in control of how we respond. When we take the time to breathe, we also allow ourselves to trust that everything is going to be okay. Trust that this is part of the process. Trust that this uncomfortable feeling is new because it is new and I've never been here before. So I have nothing to reference this now moment. But if I trust right now that this is exactly how I'm supposed to feel and I allow myself to feel it all, I now have a memory point of this very moment. So when I now experience this now in any other capacity going forward, I won't be as uncomfortable because I've moved through it. I didn't resist it. I felt it all. Now I trust that not only can I feel all of this, I can do so in stride, knowing that it's making me stronger, knowing that I need to feel this right now. And that's why presence is so important. Presence and patience are actually related. Did you know that? Yeah. Presence and patience are like siblings because you cannot rush and be fully present. You cannot panic and truly observe. Presence says, estoy aquí, I am here. Meanwhile, patience says, I trust what's unfolding. See the connection? Together, they create peace as siblings that don't argue together. Now, think about a gardener, right? For my green thumbers out there. Gardeners don't yell at their produce. They don't yell at the tomatoes. They don't threaten the flowers to bloom. They don't rush seasons. Instead, they nurture, patient, they observe, they water, they protect, they prune, they trust the process. And they trust that if they do those things, fruit will be bared, produce will sprout. Now, maybe we should treat our dreams the same way, having that same confidence, knowing that it's going to be. Many of us, when we go to sleep at night, we don't wake up in the morning not anticipating that there's going to be some form of sun, some form of light the next day. It may be sunny, it may be cloudy, it may be rainy, but we understand and we expect every day for the sun to rise and the sun to set. We expect those that live in certain areas where they have seasons. We expect the seasons to flow as they flow. Sometimes we may have a longer spring, longer summer, but we expect to have the seasons. We expect certain flowers to bloom when they do. For my fruit lovers, I love it when it's cherry season. I also love it when it's pomegranate season. I love it when it's mango season. I'm a foodie. But those seasons come. And you also know when you're eating fruits out of season. They just don't hit the same. Well, imagine if we viewed our dreams the same way and we didn't rush it. We just excitedly trusted that not only is it going to come, but when it comes, we're going to enjoy each and every moment. Patience isn't passive. It is disciplined trust in motion. Now let's reframe together. Maybe God, the universe, whatever language speaks to you, isn't making you wait. Maybe it's making you ready. We just have to trust the process. The strongest people I've met aren't always the fastest, but they are the most regulated, the most grounded, the most consistent, the most patient. And not because life hasn't been easy to them. No, it's because they've learned that trust is stronger than panic. So wherever you are today, if you're waiting, healing, building, loving, leading, growing, take a breath. Keep flowing. Just like that river. You don't have to see the ocean to trust that you're moving towards it. Patience isn't the absence of movement. It's movement without fear, because patience is regulated trust. CTA moment. Where in your life is patience asking you to trust instead of rush? Is it in your career, relationships, healing, in your business, and your faith? Drop one word below. Let's grow together. I appreciate you.